This is my Smackdown review, 8th Feb edition. I'll give like a rough review of it, and mostly it was a fine show. Like people really hated the Pretty Deadly beating the DIY for the in a non-title match to get a title shot. I think what has happened is I don't think this is a full-fledged face turn for them. Probably next week, Street Profits will interview. They had a backstage segment too, which kind of gave an indication that Street Profits are not really faces or heels, like they're just doing what they want to do. And we also had a backstage segment where, more with Motor City Machine Gun and Los Garzas, and they were like, we have a common enemy in Street Profits, and that we know how you feel because they took us out for no reason. And Pretty Deadly got a title shot, and we also want a piece of DIY. So let's see what happens with them next week. Probably next week we'll get like two title matches. Like I don't think the tag title match is announced, but probably it will be announced also. So to stack the card, anyways. The thing is, there was nothing on this show which was like particularly like bad, but it still feels like many of this is just put on at the last second. Nick Aldis also feels like a manager who just in kayfabe puts things like last minute. Like we got a lot of matches here, but it's like it's like when I see them, I can just hear that they just put it like at last minute or something. Like they need to do much more. They would have probably sold more tickets to the show if they had announced more things happening on the show rather than just Jay Uso and Charlotte Flair speaking. The Pretty Deadly DIY match I think was fine. Pretty Deadly won with the with the rope help and everything. Before that, DIY were giving a minute of silence to Motor City Machine Guns. The thing is, I hope that this is not a full-fledged face turn because I think you need much more build-up for the Pretty Deadly to for them to face uh, much more adversity before finally turning face. And I hope when they turn face, it happens at WrestleMania and they kind of cost them the tag titles at Mania. The thing is, probably people are going to interfere in that Pretty Deadly match, and maybe then, if like DIY wins, maybe Pretty Deadly, maybe then Johnny Gargano can play good cop again and say that, see, they are all out to get you. Only we can provide you with a title shot where there is no interference and all that. So, you work for us again, and maybe that will happen again. I think so. One thing I like is that there are multiple storylines going in the tag division, but I don't think it is out of choice. It is more out of compulsion because they don't have a roster that big and they have to do this stuff. Even like the Cody and Jay Uso say a segment, like if you miss that segment, you did not miss anything. Like they did not said something that had, you know, like some depth into it. Despite them having so much history, only thing you could say is that Cody was much more direct. He was uh, like this is the last night that we can have fun and all, because if you choose me, I'm not even only going into WrestleMania, I'm going to beat you, because my story did not only end with me winning the championship, it's me continuing to be champion. So that then Jacob fought to interfere and he was like, I want to take this title back from my family. And then one thing I liked was that Jay didn't wait for him to insult him much more. He just kicked Tamatonga. Then Jacob attacked both. Then Jay and Cody both beat up Jay and Cody both beat up Jacob, and a tag team match was set up for the main event player. You also had Carmelo versus Akira, because first I thought this was like an elimination chamber qualifying match, like because Nick just mentioned something to that, but it wasn't that. Where Carmelo was like, Akira, because Carmelo, cost him the chance, which was kind of good, like it made sense. Carmelo won. Like even if he had lost, I wouldn't have like been really mad, because in his character it kind of makes sense, because he is the, you know, like delusional heel. But I just hope they're trying to build Carmelo into something. Carmelo was funny also doing the shovel sign after the match. This was a very like dirt sheet, like wrestling term coded, IWC coded show in some parts. Like even like before the Drew, LA and J match, like Drew was, they incorporated, Drew being angry and all after the Royal Rumble into their storyline. Like like I was throwing things after losing. Raw is a toxic workplace environment. Then LA also said before, saying his catchphrase, he said, "Let me get my stuff in," which I earlier thought was that he he forgot his, LA Night yeah line. But then I got, oh, stuff in because of the Rumble rumors and everything. Oh, I get it now. So it was that. They also had a good promo, like essentially berating Drew. And they also called Drew McIntyre. I think this was the match of the night for me. Of even if some spots were a little bit like iffy, or like you could see that they were waiting for each other in some spots, but I like this. Like the finish was a little iffy too, but it was an innovative finish, and I like that Drew won, and now he's going into the elimination chamber. I also like that Drew's new gimmick is essentially that he is kind of, pretending that he's happy, like he's a new attitude, he's like a snarky happy heel, but no, inside he's just the same angry old Drew heel. It's just that he's trying to hide it, like being like a snarky heel. He also said from the IWC's press perspective that if you had said Yeet before Jay, you would have been more famous. But Jimmy also had a great retort to that. You also had like Piper facing Bianca. Like how many times we have done this? So the thing is, I don't mind it, but people do mind because they have literally seen Bianca pit up Piper so many times for the KOD. This match really didn't happen that much. Like most of it happened in the ad break. They came back. They didn't do that much, and then Bianca won. Same with like the pre-deadly tag match. Most of it happened in the break, so I don't get what you do with that. Like Cody and Miz had a good segment where Miz was essentially like the carrion cross of SmackDown. He was saying that this title makes you do things, and you had wild Shinsuke Nakamura lurking behind, which I didn't see. I got to know about it from the internet. Like many people have been released also, which I don't know. I don't like it. Like it has made me a little bit like, because some of them I actually had ideas. Some of them we actually thought they had ideas. Like Blair was talking to Piper last week, like backstage or something. It felt like they are going to have her in the as part of Chelsea's security detail, and they just release her without giving her a chance on the main roster. I don't get, then why call them on the main roster? Then let them stay on NXT if you don't have any plans for them. And also, it was like the US title feud between Piper and Michin, and Chelsea is continuing because Michin and BFAB confronted them. They're like, we're still coming for you, and like, please do something innovative. You already don't have any women. The women that you had, you released her without even giving her a chance to prove herself. In that miss segment, Andrade was also like, I did learn something from you. I learned how to defeat you. Then Kevin Owens had a really great promo where he actually blamed Sami. He brought up the fact that he helped Roman in the Royal Rumble, which, if you look at it, you can say he has a point, but not really. Like they are in the Rumble match where Roman, if you look at the clip, Roman was laying down. It was not like he was getting eliminated and he was just like, oh, Roman, get up. He didn't even do much. You can say he paid for that. He got eliminated because of that, because he took the eye of the game. He took the eye of the ball. So he eventually got eliminated anyways. But Kevin had such a good move because you could see that he was emotional, but he had that look in his eye. He had that anger also. Like he was saying that I will never forgive you and all that and everything. And that was that. You also had what else happened on this show, man? Yeah, the Tiffany Charlotte segment. I think as a segment, probably, I think it was really great. Like you could say, this was like a mania level feud like segment. Like Charlotte was essentially playing a heel, like rich veteran, like you're nothing in front of me. Heel Tiffany was essentially saying that people were comparing me to you. They were calling me Mini Charlotte, but I'm not that. Like I became Tiffany time when WWE is doing great in merchandise, in sales and everything, you are nothing. Charlotte was like, if 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 Rhea was a kid, you are a child, which I was like, that means the same thing. A kid and a child is the same thing. And she was also like, you don't deserve to face me. And I commend WWE at least for one thing, like they do not really have the trust of fans right now, especially since the Royal Rumble victory, at least for the online fans. The other feuds are not really hitting right now. So I really like that they have got the roles right. Like Charlotte is the rich veteran heel. Tiffany is kind of like the tweener up and coming star who is kind of like too much of herself, but she also has a kind of a point. And they have really laid out the characters well in that feud. So, like Bianca has qualified for that, and you the tiff then Naya interrupted and she was like you're jumping the gun because next week I have a shot at Tiffany Stratton. So they're kind of ending this Tiffany Nia Jax feud, and also it feels like they're also ending it so quickly, but not an elimination chamber because they they probably think that elimination chamber is probably going to be like a four match card. Like two chamber matches are probably going to take a lot of time, so I don't think they see that Tiffany Naya thing making it into the card, and probably they'll have Naya in the match, in the elimination chamber match. So they're not doing that elimination chamber and ending it here, which is kind of little bit, you can say, I'm sorry for it, because they have been like together for like what, 10 months, 11 months, and now they're just ending this feud out of like, because she won the title, then Naya didn't, like, kind of went after her, but then Saturday night's main event happened, so Rhea, and then they forgot about it, and now they're like, okay, we have to end this next week so we can wrap this up and get to the main thing that we have is Charlotte and Tiffany. So they're doing that. So let's see what happens. They did that. So we are getting uh, Tiffany and Nia next week for the women's championship. Also, we are getting Jacob, we are getting Damien, and we are getting Braun Strowman next week also. And I think probably Damien is winning, because I think what's gonna happen is Braun and Jacob in that match are going to hit each other a lot. Maybe Drew will interfere, maybe, like, something is going to happen, because I don't see Jacob going to the elimination chamber because he'll get pinned there. I don't see Braun going there because he has a feud with Jacob and it doesn't make sense for him to go there. Drew is already in the chamber. He, like, that combo was good, that Claymore into BFT. It was a little bit clunky, but it was good. So, and Damien makes sense because you're planning a feud between Damien and Drew. So I think Damien will win anyhow, because they will be both busy with each other, and then you can have Damien pin Braun Strowman. So it will be good also. Also, the thing is that then what happened? Have I talked about everything that has happened on the show? Maybe I'm missing some things, like what is happening with the US title. Like Shinsuke has been just lurking around people for a while now. You you also had Jay Uso meeting R Truth in the back. Uh, in the back, all that happened. What else happened? The thing is, I know I'm forgetting some stuff that happened, but forgive me. Let's just get into the main event, which was Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso versus Solo and Jacob. The thing is, I not Solo and Jacob, Jacob and Tama. Sorry, but I missed most of this match because election results were coming on screen. But from what I saw, it was a kind of a normal match. Cody won, of course, pinning Tama Tonga, and then Solo returned. What I think is Solo's return is related to Cody, but more like, I have attacked Cody because I am going to qualify for the chamber and go into the chamber, rather than I have attacked Cody and I am going to face Cody like in 2 weeks for the WWE Championship. I don't think that is going to happen. Most likely Solo is going into the chamber to or at least trying to qualify for the chamber so he can win the championship back. Solo's return, like it got a reaction from the crowd. It's not like it didn't got. It's just that people are kind of like not Cody and Solo again. Like you have other options that are much more feasible and much more like new and kind of exciting to do. You could do a Cody versus Damien Priest, or you could have Cody, do an open challenge, like kind of like testing himself. You can do things, not Solo again. I think Solo is probably going to be now involved in the Jacob and Tama stuff. Like, what were you doing when I was gone and everything. I think there are going to be tensions between them, and that's what's going to cause Solo like the Elimination Chamber qualifying match. And then maybe we'll see Jacob and Solo at Mania, or maybe before that if they have something other planned for Jacob, maybe a US title match or something. But that's what's gonna happen next. For Cody, I don't know what happens. I think he will probably defend his title once before WrestleMania because he kinda has to. Like he like didn't defend the title for more than a month before he defended at the Rumble. So they'll probably have him defend the title one more time. For me, I will probably have him defend it two more times because the WrestleMania is in April, like mid-April, towards the end. So at least you should have at least two defenses before going into that event. But let's see what happens. So that was the Smackdown review. If you like this type of content, like this video, share and subscribe. If you don't, share it with those who do. My social media links are in the description. Go follow me on that. My Twitter and Instagram link are in the description. My UPI ID link, Shabbat OKICICI, is in the description too. Go donate any amount of money which you can so that it helps me make YouTube a permanent career option. So that was it for me today. So thank you. Goodbye.